The next lesson is concentration stage 2, the concept. Once you know what is left after removing all the sensory elements from thought, the next stage can be started. You will very soon notice that this something cannot be manipulated in the same way as you can a thought image. Through a kind of tact, it's necessary to adopt a more contemplative position in order to proceed further. You therefore concentrate by keeping your leftovers before your consciousness in a contemplative way, whilst trying to see the precise point from which they arise. The aim here is to refine our awareness, in order to refine what it is we're doing when we contemplate this subtle something, or again, to discover the precise point where that something arises in us. Now, as soon as we realize that there is that certain something, on finishing the exercise of contemplation or thought control, gather all the strength that we have discovered at a point some way inside the center of the forehead. Then move it round the outside of the skull at the same level, and then all the way down the spinal column. The energy movement should be carried out at the end of the exercise of concentration from this point on, each and every time. The main question to answer is, what relationship exists between the something that is left over, the original thought object, and the consciousness that produces it? Comments. Here we really start to penetrate into the really extrasensory. Nothing belongs to the senses out of what is left before the consciousness. It is therefore useful to note down all your impressions and check for yourself each time that your observations are valid by checking up on the previous exercise after you have performed the current one. As a general rule, whatever is objective is reproducible each time we repeat an exercise with an open mind. And that's why it's important to check that the imagination is no way colouring our impressions and that we're not fixing them falsely, so we don't review the last time we performed an exercise until after we have just done it again. That is why, beyond a few practical tips and a few clues, no results of the research by other people will be given. If your results are good, you will prove them on your own for yourself. If they do not have an objective character, they're not worth passing on to anyone else anyway. You can also note that once you reach this stage, you have to wait for results to reveal themselves. In other words, the nature of thinking itself is revealed when you make yourself worthy or subtle enough to receive the consequences. It is useful to observe how much this exercise deepens knowledge of each object or thought observed. The possibility of reviewing and further perfecting all man-made objects, at least potentially, is a logical consequence. The meaning of each thought for the man who thinks it, or woman who thinks it, is also revealed at this stage. At this stage it is also no longer possible to dance faster than the music, as it were. You have to wait for the following stage to be revealed in order to continue your progress. Variations. Another aspect of the same question is, what are the formative forces or the living energies that make them up? Or another, where does the connective power of thinking come from? That is, relations of thought to thought. And even, where does our awareness of our thinking come from? Thank you. I look forward to the next lesson.